Among the native peoples who made peace with the American settlers was a woman known as Granny or Mother Rod. She and her husband, Alexander, were native peoples whose reports of the time indicate were well liked by the people of Port Huron, which then was generally known as the village of Desmond. Granny Rod lived in the area until her death in 1871. She was respected by native peoples and settlers alike for her traditional healing skills, as well as her business of selling baskets and berries. Another local person of native ancestry of this time was John Riley. He was a good businessman and well regarded, although it's uncertain how or why he had a European name. A township in St. Clair County is named Riley Township after John Riley. A native named McCombs ran a tavern in St. Clair County for many years. He often appeared at local business and social gatherings, dressed in a colorful manner that combined the fashions of the settlers and his own native traditions. Another local native man named Tipsikaw was noted for his athletic ability. In the early 1800s, he was the best at sports such as foot racing and wrestling. It was said he could run down a deer on the hunt and was famous for defeating mounted riders in races. Perhaps the most compelling local native personality was Ogama Kigato. He was recognized in the 1830s by Michigan Territorial Governor Lewis Cass for his intelligence and eloquence. The story goes that in 1835, he broke up a fight and was stabbed in the stomach. The cut was so big and so deep that his liver was exposed. According to the story, Kegato reached in and sliced off a piece of his own liver. He then cooked it over a fire and ate it, and said, "If there is a tougher Anishinaabe man around, I wish to meet him." The stories don't report whether anyone took him up on that offer. Today, the impact of the Anishinaabe people can be seen across the state, with the many place names taken from the Anishinaabe language. However, only a few such words exist in St. Clair County. One is Kanoki. It comes from the Anishinaabe word for crooked and refers to twists and turns that Mill Creek takes as it winds its way through Kanoki Township. The town currently named Algonac here in St. Clair County sounds like a real Anishinaabe word, but it actually was made up by an American from part of the tribe named Algonquin. And the Anishinaabe word for earth, Aki, Algonac, is not a word that an Anishinaabe speaker would have used. At this time, the landscape in Michigan was changing dramatically. At the start of the 1800s, the land was dominated by huge forests and extensive swamps. But by the end of the century, much of the forests were gone, a victim of the lumberjack's axe and the farmer's plow. These were difficult times for all native peoples in Michigan. Many now lived on reservations scattered throughout the state. Their children often were required to attend Indian schools run by the government or churches. These schools sought to change the way of life for the Anishinaabe and other native peoples, to change their way of thinking, and to fit in with white society. The motto of those wanting to supposedly civilize the Anishinaabe was, "Save the man, kill the Indian." Many Anishinaabe from the St. Clair County area ended up on reservations in Mount Pleasant, while others found homes nearby in Canada, at the Sarnia and Walpole Island reserves. Today, the Sarnia Chippewa Band is also known as the Anjouang, while the Walpole Island Reserve still retains its traditional Anishinaabe name, Bikejwanung, meaning where the waters divide. In many respects, life for the Anishinaabe of today is much like any other person's life in the United States or Canada, but they still retain their identity as not only citizens of either country, but as Anishinaabe as well. Native people from St. Clair County continue to share their history and culture with others. Powwows, which are native cultural festivals, remain a popular way for members of all tribes to meet and share their traditions with each other and the public. The largest powwow in St. Clair County is the Blue Water Indian Celebration, which began in 1994